The aim of this video is to support teachers and other people working with students that have type 1 diabetes. A fundamental part of being able to understand and support a student with diabetes is to have a basic knowledge of the condition and what it involves. In conjunction with this DVD, a resource pack is available to support teachers and parents to manage diabetes. This pack contains practical information, an emergency plan, standardised healthcare plan and template forms that can be adapted for each school. It can be downloaded from www.into.ie and www.diabetes.ie.
Before I had a child with diabetes in my class, I was initially very nervous. I was wondering, would I be able to recognise the signs of high or low blood sugars? Would I realise the symptoms in time if the situation occurred? And then if something did happen and there was an emergency, whether I would remain calm and also be able to deal with the rest of the class.
I felt it was very important to communicate well with the teacher and to explain in detail what was involved with diabetes. It's very important that they were very aware of what it entailed.
So what is diabetes? Diabetes is a chronic condition. The carbohydrate foods we eat are broken down into sugar, also known as glucose, in the stomach. This glucose then travels in the bloodstream to the cells in our body. These cells need glucose for heat and energy. Insulin is the hormone produced by the pancreas that helps glucose move into the body's cells. Insulin acts as the key to unlock the cells to allow the glucose in. Once the door is unlocked, the glucose can enter the cells where it is used as fuel for energy. When insulin is not present, glucose cannot get into the cells and so builds up in the bloodstream. This form of diabetes is known as type 1 diabetes. The management and control of type 1 diabetes involves a careful balancing of several factors, including insulin intake in the form of injections or a pump, monitoring of blood sugar levels, maintaining a healthy diet with the correct carbohydrate intake, and also balancing exercise and normal activity. Students with diabetes are encouraged to check their blood sugar levels during the day. This is a very simple procedure which can be done in a few minutes. It is an essential part of monitoring the condition, so a student should always be allowed to do this when required. Students with type 1 diabetes need to eat at regular intervals. It is important to know the times a student with diabetes needs to eat and to try to keep to these times. Students must be allowed to finish their lunch and snacks completely before going out to play. The normal blood sugar levels are between 4 to 7 millimole. Each student will have an agreed target range with their diabetes team for their blood glucose levels, which may differ from the 4 to 7 millimole range. However, the blood sugar level may go below 4 millimole. This is termed as having a hypo, or to use the correct term, experiencing hypoglycemia. Low blood sugar may be due to missing a snack or exercising without eating to compensate. Symptoms to watch out for include trembling, pallor, anxiety, irritability, and difficulty in concentrating.
When I get a low blood sugar, I feel weak, dizzy or shaky, or sometimes I can get a bad headache, and I usually have to sit down.
Anya's mum has told me if Anya feels low, she'll have specific symptoms. And it's very important for teachers to get this information from parents, because each child has different symptoms and you need to know the symptoms for that particular child, that they're accurate.
It can get worse if I don't treat my hypo quickly, and if it's very serious, I can go unconscious.
These symptoms must always be treated immediately.
We have a hypo kit in the drawer for Anya if she goes low, and in it we have fast-acting sugary drinks and also some snacks which Anya can take after. All the teachers in the school are aware of where it is. It comes with me to matches or if we are going down to the pitch for training, so that if Anya goes low, it is always nearby. If Anya is feeling low, she generally gets dizzy or may get a headache, and she would check her blood sugar levels. And if they're below 4, she comes up to my desk and I take out the hypo kit and give her half a glass of Lucozade. And then after 5 or 10 minutes, she would check her blood sugars again. And if they have risen above 4, she can take a snack. And if not, she needs to take another half glass of Lucozade and then may take the snack if they have risen.
It may take up to 10 to 15 minutes for the student to improve once they have taken the glucose, and during this time they should not be left alone.
Every school should have an emergency plan, which we do, and we keep it in the staff room. And it goes through the steps that we follow if Anya has low or high blood sugar levels.
While blood sugars can drop too low, the opposite can also happen, where levels rise too high. This would mean levels rising above 15 millimole. Having high blood sugar levels is known as being high or having hyperglycemia. This is caused by lack of insulin, stress, excitement, the onset of infection, or eating too much food. The student who is high or has hyperglycemia may be sleepy, lethargic, anxious, or often very thirsty and needing to go to the bathroom frequently. This is the body's natural reaction to a buildup of sugar in the blood, and if this is the case, the student should be given free access to water or sugar-free drinks and allowed to use the bathroom whenever they need to. As students get older, they will usually recognise their own high and low blood sugars, but younger children may not. A teacher needs to be able to watch out for the symptoms and to help a child to recognise them. Parents should be informed of either high or low blood sugars occurring during the day. The control of diabetes is by insulin injections or an insulin pump. Some small children with diabetes may not need an insulin injection during school hours, while other students will require insulin injections several times a day. When a student requires an insulin injection or to use the insulin pump, the school needs to accommodate this.
Diabetes doesn't restrict any of the child's activities in school. Anya is extremely sporty.
Where physical activity or sport is concerned, the important points to remember are that activities must be planned in advance so that extra food or drink can be consumed to make up for the energy which will be used to keep the blood sugar level from running too low.
If we are training or doing PE, we need to make sure she has enough food taken before an activity, and we need to make sure the hypo kit comes with us when we're leaving the classroom in case Anya goes low. The other thing we make sure is that we have Anya's meter with us so that she can check herself if needed. It's important to have water available at all times and that Anya has enough food taken before any physical activity.
A serious situation occurs if a student becomes ill and is vomiting or unable to retain food or fluids, as food is required to balance insulin. If this happens, the student's parents should be contacted immediately, and if they cannot be reached, medical help should be sought. The school should have an emergency plan in place and the student's healthcare plan up to date. So how can teachers and others help? One of the most important steps is to establish good communications with parents.
A lot of it was to talk to Anya a lot as well, and to make sure that she would be comfortable in talking to the teacher, and so that she'd recognise her own symptoms of maybe a hypo coming on, and to be sure not to be afraid to say to the teacher, and just to instill that on her really.
Helping a student to become more independent and confident to self-manage their diabetes is a large part of their development. Participation in school activities can help encourage independence, and joining in school trips or outings is an important way to do this. School staff or group leaders should be aware if they have a student with diabetes in their group. They should ensure they inform parents or the student in advance so that they can be prepared for a trip or outing.
From a teacher's perspective, having a child with diabetes is manageable as long as resources are in place. These would include information on the child's condition, regular contact with the child's parents, and having a hypo kit at hand. And in addition, it's imperative to have the emergency plan in the staff room so that if, for example, a substitute teacher was in, they would have steps to follow.
In conjunction with this DVD, please review Managing Chronic Health Conditions at School, a resource pack for teachers and parents. It can be downloaded from www.into.ie and www.diabetes.ie.